Welcome back to our viewers and to you joining us from all over the world. This is Swakopmund, where the Africa Cup Triathlon is happening. We are quickly cutting away to bring you an interview with Councillor Klaus Goldbeck. Sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Well, we are joined by Councilman Klaus here in Swakopmund. Councilman Klaus, just let's talk about the African Triathlon Cup that's taking place. Second one here. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, good afternoon. I think we must be very proud to have the triathlon here in Swakopmund the second time. This is now the situation where we can make sure that the Ironman will come next year in 2024.
Very excited.
So the thing is, if we do good homework right now, we will have the Ironman next year here, and that is a good exposure for Swakopmund indeed, because the exposure is 75 to 100 million turnover. And that's what we need for the economy to get going. I hope so, and I think so, and I'm positive thinking it will happen.
Okay, well, like you spoke earlier on 22 nations. How big can it get? I mean, we have people from all over different countries coming here to participate in the African Triathlon Cup. What exposure does that bring to Namibia?
The exposure is, I just spoke to a few of the athletes that have never been to Namibia, so that's, these, as I said in my speech just now, these are the ambassadors going home telling the people how beautiful the country is, and next time do also some activities, booking some activities, and that's what we want, and not only, so that is what the Ironman is happening. It will happen before that, because some people come from all destinations. They will have some activities, and afterwards some activities. So promoting Namibia. And we are on the map, but we can be much better on the map.
Yes, our esteemed viewers, this is Swakopmund. We are at the Mola, and we can see some athletes getting ready. So David, what's going to happen next? Take us through the process, please.
So first of all, we're going to find that the officials are going to clear the water, that it is safe to swim, and that there are lifeguards. Remember, because the important thing is you don't have to do it for the best athlete. You have to be able to look after the athlete that's going to be the weakest. Or the slowest. So they've got to look after that, and people tend to panic, especially if the water's cold. But they're going to be doing 2 loops of 750 meters. And so they're going to keep the boys on their left shoulder the whole time. So it's going to be 2 loops. And they're going to have to exit the water after the first loop, and then go back into the water for the second loop as well. So we can just see numerous athletes going into the water, and as the mist starts to lift, they'll be able to see these massive buoys. And it's in this little bay, this little cove, so it's safe. So there's not going to be as much swell, and that's going to be awesome, because the last year there was a lot of swell on the water, and especially for the athlete that doesn't know what they're in for, or hasn't done this before, or inexperienced, that can make it very difficult.
So in terms of the swell, does this mean we can expect faster times?
I think from these athletes going in now, the times will be much the same. You'll find that the athletes that go in later today, as we get into the more elite and for the natural representative athletes, you'll see the times will definitely be faster.
Yes. So it's a swim, and then they will transition.
Yeah. So the swim is going to be 2 loops of 350. They have to exit the water on both on the first loop, and then go around a marker and go back into the water. And then the second loop, when they come out, they're going to run, and they're going to have to run about almost 100 meters into transition. So that's quite a long run, because they also have the beach section to run up.
Yes.
They'll be quite tired doing that.
Yes.
And then they come into transition. Yeah.
So you have vast experience in being involved with triathlons, and you mentioned earlier you were in Tokyo.
Yeah, so I was honored and privileged enough to be the team doctor for Team Namibia in Tokyo in 2021. In the season of COVID, it was quite a privilege, yeah.
So is there anything we can do to heat up the water here? Because you mentioned in Tokyo they did something quite amazing.
So in Tokyo, for the long distance open water swim, the water was way too warm, and they actually managed to reduce the water temperature. I think they got the Tokyo Navy involved, and I think they cooled it by means of ice blocks or something. But they did something which was amazing in that bay area, because you can't swim if the water's too warm, especially with using a wetsuit.
Yes. You mentioned that.
You must pull them to attention and play the anthem.
You need to
we're not doing the
also
the
mention that
I see you doing commentary.
we are live. You need to mention that when we are in the water, you must sweat.
Yeah, so wearing a wetsuit, you still sweat in the wetsuit, and remember the vigorous rate at which you're swimming, you're still going to be sweating in that, and so you must be able to swim. So that's why water temperature is important for both your muscles and for your ability to breathe and for your ability to see.
Yes. So it's already a big plus point for us Namibians. We've got perfect water conditions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So at the moment our water conditions are 15 degrees Celsius, which is a perfect temperature. Also, the outside ambient temperature is not too cold, so your body is not going to have such a big shock going into the water.
Yes.
And that's also very important, because remember, this race is going to be very fast. So a swim, bike, run over an Ironman distance is a very different race, because you have to take into account nutrition and conditions as well, a lot more. Whereas in this race, I mean, they're going to be they're going to be in the red from the word go.
Yes.
For about an hour plus, and the swim is actually going to be over pretty quickly. But still, wearing a wetsuit doesn't only help with the heat; it also helps with buoyancy. So there are rules as to how thick your wetsuit can be, and what type of wetsuit you can wear. And so we're grateful to have the officials here from World Triathlon that are helping us with just making sure, and the commissaires making sure that we have. That we are all regulation, and that's just for your safety, but also for fair play.
Wow, wonderful stuff. And it's happening right here in Swakopmund at the Mola. We are quickly going to pay the rent. We'll be back.
Namibia, land of the brave, finding strength in challenging times, united for independence, united for freedom, united for a better Namibia. Together we have grown to become a democratic nation, resilient and resourceful, Namibians helping Namibians. During a global pandemic, we are put to the test, but Namibians prevail in unity and compassion to take care of our health, the health of the nation, for continued independence, continued freedom, continued democracy. The struggle is not over, but Namibians get stronger. The power of solidarity running in our veins. To be Namibian means to remain positive, to remain hopeful, to remain the land of the brave.
Hey, don't worry about the car, boss. I checked nice.
Thank you, but it's okay, ne? F&B Insurance. Checks nicer.
No, man.
At F&B Insurance, we provide cover for all your valuables, from your car to your laptop to your phone. F&B Insurance. You value it, we cover it. T's and C's apply.
My mom says, not on our DSTV in South Africa. Are we back?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are bringing to you the action as it is unfolding. I'm with a very special guest right here next to me. It's Dr. David Weber, and he is co-sharing. We are actually co-sharing the microphones for today. David, athletes warming up. Which division or which section is this? And we're having males, females, and teams competing here.
So this will be, so this is the 20 plus. This is your typical age group category. So anybody that's an amateur, that's not representing their country, probably. Well, there would be some athletes doing that, but so they'll start at separate times. We're starting in a few minutes with firstly the male athletes and then female, and then there's even a teams event, and that has become popular because it's become an Olympic event.
Wow.
So now triathlon is no longer an individual event at the Olympics, but also a team event. So where one person swims, then somebody else bikes and somebody else runs.
Is that something new, recently introduced?
Yeah, so what has happened is that triathlon is a spectator-friendly sport over the Olympic distance, because you're doing circuits like we are doing today, and that has become very popular over the last few years, and the resurgence of that has led to the fact that also team events have developed out of this, and that is, as the sport grows, I think that becomes more important. And also, it's not that everybody is able to swim or that everybody is able to bike. So it's you could get the strongest person in each event and use them for that.
So yes, let me cut in quickly there. Who would be your ideal team to represent Namibia at the world stage?
Oh, so that's a difficult. That would be difficult. I think. Again, it depends if it's Olympics or over an Olympic distance. I think we would have to choose our strongest. And at Olympic distance, it's a 1.5 kilometer swim.
Yes.
And that will also depend if it's going to be held in a lake or in open water. I mean, we have Philip Zeitler, who represented Namibia at the Olympics and did phenomenally well in open water, and that was in the sea.
He's a local.
And he's a local resident of Swakopmund,
Swakopmund,
which is and his family. I met them there in Tokyo, and they were amazing. And so you could use something like that, and then. Also, the bike course would determine who we'd use, because it depends on the technicality of the bike course, and also the elevation of the bike course would determine who we would use. And then we have amazing runners also in Namibia, over a 10 kilometer, 10,000 meter course.
Okay.
So that would be important.
So just a moment, we are quickly cutting away before they start to one of the athletes. We'll be speaking to one of the athletes. Let's check out what he's got to say.
Want is saam met Matt Rees Isaacs wat nou in Suid-Afrika was vir die triathlon daar. Sê gou vir my, hoe was dit daar?
Het was baie lekker, baie goed geleerd. Happy met my result.
Het jy goed gedoen?
Ja.
Okay, nou, voorbereidings vir hierdie en is jy nie moeg nie? Hoe voel jy en is jy gereed vir die Junior African Triathlon?
Ja, ek is bietjie moeg. Ek is baie voorbereid. My bene is bietjie moeg, maar ek voel goed.
Voel jy goed?
Ja.
Okay, nou, al en al, kom ek vra jou nie. Ek het vir almal die vraag gevra. 83, wat goed wat jy moet doen in die triathlon nie. Van waar die een hou jy die beste en waar die een laat voel jy, ek is nie les vandag nie, of jy is nie les vir my?
Die hardloop is my beste, van is my vinnigste.
Wat?
Maar die swem, die swem maak my die moegste. Ek is nie les vir die swem.
En hoe voel jy oor die cycling?
Die cycling is ook lekker. Het is beter as die swem.
Die swem is die ene wat jy nie van hou nie.
Ja.
Gelukkig is die eerste.
Ja.
Okay, nee, sien julle nou.
Okay, bye.
Namibia for the Africa Triathlon Cup 2023. It's the start of a beautiful day outside of Soetbike Run. Right now, let's take a moment to be outstanding for the national anthem of Namibia.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the official start is about to happen. And yeah. Oh yes, we have just finished with the national anthem, and we are now preparing for the first race. David, any well-known faces there?
So firstly, off the race director, Rual, you can see him standing there in the grey with a microphone, and he's just explaining as the officials just guide them through. I think during the night, some of the buoys may have moved with the tide. So they just trying to make sure that everything's set, and I know that was fixed this morning already by our technical staff. So they're just explaining to everybody how it works, and that's so important for safety. So people don't end up swimming into each other, and that people don't end up panicking, and then so that nobody has a misunderstanding, and then it becomes a debacle afterwards.
Yes. So we are employing some high tech here. We've got someone on the ocean actually, at, I think in the vicinity of the turning point. And our colleague will provide us with some live footage of the swimmers in the ocean. We are also having a drone up in the sky who will bring us some live feed as the action unfolds.
Yeah. So it's been, you'll see most of these are age groupers, and I know most of these athletes from years of racing with them, against them, and in team events with them. And as you can see, some of the athletes don't even have wetsuits on.
Yes,
because this is a wetsuit legal race, but it's not imperative. So if the temperature gets to a certain temperature, usually below 12 degrees Celsius, then it will be stated that they need to and they must, and you may not enter the water without, and that's just for safety's sake.
Yes. So these are now the males starting first.
So first off, we will have the male athletes that are going, and you'll see that they separate the groups just because of the physicality of it, and also for safety's sake.
Yes.
And then I think.
Yes. Sorry, David. We're quickly cutting away for another interview, and then we will continue our conversation.
Well, we are joined by Paul, the editor of the Triathlon magazine. Paul, how are you doing today?
I'm great. It's so good to be back here. I love Swakopmund. I love Namibia. When I flew over those deserts, I just felt myself getting peaceful.
Well, we spoke behind the scene when we were talking about last year, where you took part in the triathlon and you were emceeing at the same time, and you announced at the race, and you're like, good luck with the race. Put your mic down, ran, got on your bike, started cycling, came in second place, came back, got the mic, cheer on the third guy.
Exactly.
How did you do that?
You know what? I adore the sport. I started doing triathlon when I was 17.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now 55. I've never missed a season in my life.
Wow.
Sometimes I'm fat. Sometimes I'm fast. It doesn't matter. I just chase the guy in front of me. So I'm really chasing my shadow.
Okay.
That's all you're doing. Multi-sport is incredible. Swim, bike, and run. There's no better way to get fit.
Wow.
You see runners, they're built like this. They've got no upper body.
Yeah.
You see cyclists, even worse.
Yeah.
But when you see a triathlete, he's actually got shoulders because we're swimming. So we're actually doing the best balance of exercise. Cardiovascular, leg strength, upper body strength. If you do triathlon, you will be fit for life, for sure. That's why I do it. I'm not a natural. I'm a sprinter. I'm a big guy. I don't win races, but I'm always competitive because I love it.
Yes, and I think the moment is here. The moment is here. David, what goes through the mind of these athletes?
So they're about just thinking about their breathing and how they're going to enter the water. So your goggles are on tight, and you're trying to make sure that you get some clean water in front of you.
Yes.
So obviously there's going to be a shock to the body as you get into that water. Because they've been out for quite a while now after doing a warm-up swim. So that's it. So the heart rates are going up. You can see the watches getting started, and that's what's happening.
So what happens when your body hits the water?
So it really affects you in that it probably shocks you, and that can have a positive or a negative effect on you. You can see the athletes going in now, and as they go in, they'll probably form a line as they start going the shortest distance to the first buoy.
So, ladies and gentlemen, viewers, we are officially off to the start of the African Cup Triathlon, and it's happening right here in Swakopmund.
So
This is the sprint.
Yeah, this
section.
is the
Yes.
age group men.
Yes.
And you can see, so the difference between this and swimming in a pool or just doing a swimming race is that you have to sight. So you can see the gentleman in the front there, great long strokes, and you'll see every third stroke he's probably
Yes.
sighting
Yes.
as he looks towards the first buoy. So the problem is coming around the buoys. That's where you start jostling. You can see some athletes stop paddling so they can actually look up and are able to see where the buoy is.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
How many loops?
So they're going to be doing 2 of these loops. So the first 350 meters to that first buoy is probably the longest, and you'll see that will separate the field quite significantly.
Yes.
And they usually form an arrowhead as the other athletes get onto the hips and onto the slipstream. So you can actually save a lot by sitting on the hip of another athlete, because then you can breathe and just carrying on doing your strokes while that person is actually sighting for you.
Yes. So looking at the list, we have quite a number of Namibians competing here, and we've just been notified that the ladies are preparing now also to take to the water. Yes,
Yep.
there they are.
And there they go. The ladies go off.
Yes.
And we've also got quite a competitive field amongst these age group ladies. Many of them have represented Namibia in triathlon and in numerous biking events. Adele De La Rey.
Yes,
If she's
the name
amongst
sounds
them.
familiar.
Yeah, so Adele is an Ironman athlete that has been to Kona to World Champs
Wow.
for Ironman distance. That is a 3.8 kilometer swim.
Ooh. So the level of competitiveness is extreme.
Yeah, so the level of competition is definitely, I would say that there's quite a lot of experience
Yes,
in
yes.
the group, and we've got a lot of athletes that have won numerous other mountain biking and road biking and running events here amongst them. So I can see that the group here is quite, it's quite experienced. Now you can
Yes,
see
I
the
also
men.
see Benita Cash, who is well known here at the coast, a top performer at the Saintman. Her name
Okay.
popped up, yes,
Yeah.
in December.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So a lot of the athletes, you see that there will be a lot of experience. I think the age group athletes here are they are more mature group, and
Yes.
and that's actually quite amazing, because it's good to see that just because you're no longer representing Namibia at an elite level, that means that you aren't no longer taking part in triathlon or in sport in Namibia.
Yes. In the male section, the guys who took to the water first, I saw there's a lot of Brinkmans in the area.
Yep.
Ethan, Paul, Peter.
Yeah, so the Brinkman brothers are known, and the Brinkman family, as well as the Chase family, you'll see
Yes,
there as well,
yes.
are very well known just in endurance sport. And then the Brinkman specifically are really good at in the swimming. So I wouldn't be surprised if the first 2 male
Yes.
athletes out of the water
Yes.
are in the Brinkman or in the Chase family.
I saw Greg Chase wearing number 19, but it's actually the other Chase I'm having my eye on.
Yeah,
The young
Nathan
man.
Chase. Yeah. So Nathan Chase did phenomenally well at the African champs last week
Yes.
in PE. That was, just the travel to PE is always difficult from Namibia, and he did phenomenally well there, getting a podium spot. And I think we've got a bright future for triathlon in Namibia with Junior Commonwealth coming up and Junior Olympics even in a few years' time.
Wonderful, wonderful. And then on a personal side, Ethan Snyder hails from Narraville.
Oh, that's excellent.
That's in Office Bay. And,
Yeah.
and that community is actually not so much into triathlon. And I think this young man, Ethan, is really setting an example.
Yeah, that's the amazing thing about sports. Sports transcends all different ethnic groups, any caste system or anything like that. And sport has such an amazing ability just to take away all the walls that divide us and put us together. And I love the fact that here's a gentleman that comes from a smaller community and is able to. And there, I think that is one of the Brinkmans.
Yes.
I think that may be Mark Brinkman that's in the front there.
That's
And
now the first loop.
that's the first loop. So they have to get out of the water, they have to
Yes.
go around the marker, and then they go back in. And that really kills your legs.
Sure.
Because
That small stretch.
because you're going uphill
Yes.
and you are disorientated. There we can see Paul Brinkman also coming out there in the
Yes.
pink cap right now.
Yes.
So what you'll find is that the athletes have been using their arms and their upper bodies mostly, and now suddenly your legs have to kick into place, and
Yes.
that is quite daunting, and that's probably what fatigues you. I think Paul Inkpen might also be amongst those first athletes, right in the front there. That was doing our commentating, and that will be doing the commentating for the elite event later.
Yes.
He's also a phenomenal endurance athlete that has done more than 30 years of endurance sport.
What? How would you rate the level of endurance on local front?
So, ironically, here in Namibia, because we are such a cosmopolitan community, many of our athletes, at university level are either racing or training
Yes.
in South Africa, in the other areas of the SADC
Germany
region,
even.
and then also European. A lot of in the UK and in
Yes.
Germany, Netherlands, and so on. So
Yes.
Switzerland.
Yes.
So what ends up happening is we get exposed to massive amount of international athletes, and the standard at that level is obviously much greater than
So-
what we normally have here in Africa.
You're talking about international athletes. From which countries are the athletes coming to participate?
So later on in the elite event,
Yes.
because it's a ITU and World Triathlon sanctioned event.
Yes.
What you're gonna find is a lot of the. You're gonna find that many other countries are gonna be here because they're allowed to get points to then go on to represent their country and then possibly go to Olympics in Paris next year.
Yes.
So we've got
Yes.
people from Mexico, we've got athletes from Kazakhstan and from
Yes.
Japan. So we see that the para athlete, he missed a buoy, and because he missed that over his left shoulder, he's had to go back into the water
Wow.
and re-swim that section around
Yes,
that buoy,
yes, yes.
and they've had to penalize him for that. And that's the important thing about knowing your course. So that's
Yes.
why the race briefing last night was so important, and any race briefing, especially when you go to a race that you have never done before. So now we can see there are athletes spread around the whole course.
Yes.
Because now we have the women, we have the men, and
yeah.
we also have the para-athlete all involved in the same. And you see, what's important now is for the lifeguards you see on these kayaks to
Yes.
be looking out at everybody. And it's not just the weaker athletes. Often somebody right in the front, one of the fast athletes, they can get punched in the face.
Yes.
You can lose your goggles.
Cramps.
Cramping is probably not going to happen to the more seasoned
Experience.
athletes.
Yes, yes.
But if something does happen, then you are able to go back in. You are able to assist.
Okay.
And then we've even had cardiac arrest happening at Ironman
Wow.
athletes
Wow.
in an Ironman event. Yeah.
Yes. So we have a visibility of 10 kilometers. It's 13 degrees Celsius, and I think there's a light breeze.
Yeah, there's a little bit of the breeze, but we expect that. So Swakopmund, for those of you that don't know, is a town that is a coastal town, but it's right on the desert. So
Yes.
what we have is we have this cool, moist air coming off the sea and then hitting the dunes. And as it does that, it heats up and it condenses. So Swakopmund is covered in mist until the sun comes out mid-morning.
Yes.
And so we could have visibility of 10 kilometers. But that's probably in the next few hours as the mist starts to lift.
Yes.
But that also creates a nice inversion layer which keeps it nice and warm, and it's just a very gentle breeze. So even though it might look misty and cool, it's actually quite warm out there.
Yes, yes.
It is
so,
actually
so,
quite warm.
So with the wetness on the roads, how will that impact the runners and the cyclists?
Yeah, so as they come out, what's the problem with riding on the wet is that they are going to end up. Our roads here are unique in that they are covered with salt,
Yes.
which keeps them dry and hard.
Yes.
And if an athlete doesn't have both hands on the handlebars because they're getting out to take a bottle out or look at an athlete next to them,
Yes.
they can slip out quite quickly. Also, this is a technical course, so choosing your tire is very important. And
Wow.
actually doing a pre-ride like was planned yesterday
Yes.
is a very important thing for a lot of the athletes, because learning how to corner on the salt roads is not the same as cornering on a tar road
Yes,
or on a
yes.
gravel road even.
Yes. So the swim is on.
And now we have the men coming out here. So these are the first men that are coming out. They're going to be running now. There you can see. It's one of the Brinkmans, and probably Paul Inkpen will possibly be with them. And now they're going to come up. Now this is going to kill your legs running
Yes.
up the beach. And then you have probably about 200 meters to get all the way into the transition zone. So we have 3 athletes there.
Yes.
And
So
we can see
it's quite a tight race.
Yeah, so typically is typical of the age groupers. Here we can see them coming. They'll be coming past us shortly. So their wetsuits are allowed to be pulled open, and remember they're getting very hot as they come through here now because they've just been sweating in these wetsuits.
Yes, yes.
There's Danger going past as well in third, and then what's going to happen is the Andrew Rawls, also known as Danger, here they come past us.
Yes.
They're coming into the transition zone. Now there are rules as regards transition. They cannot just come and drop their stuff anywhere. They have to drop
Yes.
their wetsuit in a certain place. They also cannot take off their wetsuits completely before entering transition.
Yo.
And then you'll see as they get into transition, they must first put on their helmet. So we're always about safety first.
Yes, very important.
You can see these guys running into transition. Here we go. So you often are quite disorientated when you're coming in because you have the... this is Mark. That's Mark Brinkman.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
So I think it's one of the other brothers that's in the lead.
So he's third. Mark is placed third, I think third or fourth.
I think that's fourth or fifth
Yes,
right
yes.
now. But as they come in here, you'll see their legs will feel heavy because that beach, I mean, it doesn't look that bad, but it's quite a...
Yes.
It's quite a rise up, and we already have athletes going out onto the bike course, so they may only mount at the mount line. If you mount the bike before the mount line, you are penalized for doing that. It's part of the whole safety program.
I think that's Jan-Louis Mostert.
Yep.
He's wearing number 1.
Excellent.
Yeah, Jan-Louis Mostert heading this section.
And there he goes out. He's
on
out.
the bike.
He's out on the bike already. Here we have the first ladies also coming in now.
Yes, and it's all about maintaining momentum.
Yeah, so it's your fluidity is very important.
Uh-huh.
That was Peter Brinkman that was going out. There we
Yes.
see him going out in the red.
In second.
Yeah, and then we have Andrew Rawls there in third, and there he goes, and he's off. So we can see the first lady coming into transition now.
Yes.
She's going to be passing our caravan camper right now, and then we'll be able to see exactly who that is. And often it's difficult to see who these people are because they have goggles on and they don't have, and they've got a cap on there. They've still got
yes,
there. And
yes.
there comes. We also have an athlete there coming past that did not wear a wetsuit,
Yes.
Anton Swart, and he chose not to, and that's fair. That's on him. So now they'll be going through transition, and transition is learning how to transition is also not easy. It's
Yes.
something you train for because
Yes.
remember you're sticky and wet, and now you're putting on you're trying to put on either put on some dry clothes or get onto your bike, and you're trying to ride off there. So that's the mount line. You can see these guys are trying to get into their shoes, and we also practice this. And the problem is it's quite technical coming out of here because there's an uphill.
Yes.
So being in a heavy gear could also be a big problem, or could offer you a challenge if you suddenly have to get out of a swim, get into transition, you're trying to get into your shoes, and now you're going to have to go uphill.
Yes.
That can make it quite difficult.
So it's very tactical, and it takes a lot of planning, and then the execution is vital.
Yeah, so there goes Paul Inkpen as well. There we have Jan from World Triathlon. He's standing there and doing the transition zone, making sure that's our first lady. There's our first lady going out.
Are you happy with the way things are unfolding?
Yeah, so I think it's actually very smooth. I mean, for a lot of these triathletes, just because they are used to longer distances, doing a lot more endurance.
Yes.
I think this is phenomenal. That's Greg Chase going out there. I'm surprised that he's this far back in the swim.
Yes.
We have the para athlete coming out, so he's going to be waiting for his crutch so that he can help get up the beach. And how difficult must it be if your arms are pumped and you've got only one leg, and now you've got to get out there? And there comes his
our para athlete.
Excellent, my word.
Wow. So it
what's
shows
your
you.
Excuse? What's my excuse?
Exactly.
Excellent. I mean, how brave is this young man? And he's there, and he's also trying to notice there. He's using them as if they are his legs, and that's awesome.
Yes, what an amazing scene unfolding here in Swakopmund at the Africa Cup Triathlon happening, and we are bringing you the action as it is taking place.
And there goes Benita. She was at Commonwealth Games not too long ago. Also one of our amazing, amazing athletes.
Number 43. There's our para-athlete. Yes, triathlete.
So you'll see him come through transition. You'll see the people will probably give him a massive ovation and give him. They'll help him along, which is awesome.
Very, very inspiring stuff. Very inspiring stuff.
There he goes past us. You can hear the crowds. That's amazing. So he's going to first have to go up this very. So even just going up this incline for us, walking up there is not the biggest thing. But if you think how difficult it is, you've just had to run up a sandy beach and then run along here. And this transition is it's quite long. So it's also a part of the technicality of it. You've got to go all the way around and then get into transition zone. And as I said, there are officials that look specifically at the transition zone.
Yes. So that is Roy, the athlete.
Yeah. So he's trying to get the points to qualify for his next event, and to represent his country, and to everything works on a point system.
Yes.
It's important that you get the points that you need to be able to go and represent your country, which I think is every athlete's dream and goal, to represent your country at an international event.
He is Jeremias Roy, wearing number 45.
Yeah.
Very, very exceptional, motivational. Yeah, amazing.
So you can see now we're getting some drone footage of some of the people out on the ride, and look at our traffic officers we've had total road closure, and that's a very unique thing.
Yes.
You will only find that at an Olympics, the Commonwealth. A lot of places you will not find that they have total road closure, and that's very interesting, and it's commendable for our country.
Yes.
That we got to get that, and we want to thank our officials and thank the city of Swakopmund for allowing that to happen.
So
important.
So it's 2 ticks, perfect water, and now perfect cooperation with our local officials, making sure that the athletes are safe and can do what they are supposed to do.
So now out on the run, they're going to be doing 2 laps for the 20 kilometer. And now these laps are quite technical because The roads of Swakopmund, as you can see, firstly, they are a little bit wet at the moment, okay, a
Yes.
little bit moist. Secondly, I mean, it's going through the urban area of Swakopmund, so the roads do go around corners and so on.
Yes, yes.
So the athletes, they will be following them, and then you can notice that these athletes are sitting together.
Yes.
That is because this is a draft legal race. So anything from Olympic distance down, sprint, super sprint, you're allowed to draft, and drafting is makes the race even faster because you're allowed to sit on the wheel of somebody else. But that
Wow.
also makes it technical because the
Yes.
other person hesitates, breaks, or reaches out down for their bottle or swerves, you
Yes.
could hit them.
Yes.
And that could end your race immediately. So it's very important that the athletes get that right. But making something draft legal is making a race like that draft legal is very good, and it makes it much faster.
Yes.
So let's see what happens with our athletes as they go out on the course. You can also see the mist is still there.
Yes.
So remember, if you're in the sea swimming or if you're running, it's not that big. A problem if the mist is there because you're only going at a certain pace. But if you are going at 45 kilometers per hour, it can be a massive thing.
Yes.
And it could be a massive hindrance to you if you're not able to see what's happening in front of you.
So we just need to remind our viewers that this is the sprint section of the Africa Cup unfolding.
Yeah, so there's a sprint. So the sprint triathlon is going to be 750 meters of swim, 20 kilometers of biking, and 5 kilometers of running.
And do we have males, females, and any teams?
We also have teams. Yeah, we've got quite a
Yes.
few team events, teams taking part as well. And I think that's what we're seeing now. Some of the
Yes.
team swimmers coming out, and then they're coming through the swim in, and then they go out to the swim out, and they have to take. They then have to hand over to whoever's biking for them.
Yes.
So your transition is a lot quicker if you're in a team, because you're obviously handing over to somebody else, and you hand
Okay.
over actually a tag that they then wear and then move on to the next part of the course.
Yes.
We can see there's quite a bit of drama here because we're struggling with the para-athlete's helmet.
Yes, he's we located his name Jeromeus Roy. That's Jeromeus Roy, our para-athlete.
Yeah, so he had issues with his helmet. I know that we had that from yesterday already, and so it's interesting to see that he's now still struggling to get, because as part of transition you may not touch your bike until you have put your helmet on, because
Sure.
it's safety first. Bike safety is very important.
Yes.
Because you could then leave transition zone with your bike in the confusion and not be wearing a helmet because you're
helmet,
trying
yes,
to put on a
yes.
pair of shoes and so on. So yeah, we can see transition important, another age group athlete, and he's eventually off on the bike, and you can see he's actually going through the transition zone where it's actually, he should wait till the mount line and then he can actually get on his bike proper and start pedaling.
So we've lost considerable amount of time.
Yeah, so he has lost considerable amount of time. So transition is so important.
Yes.
He's had to put his leg on, and he's using that on the other side. And see, you can see how important it is for athletes to actually practice this before the time.
Yes.
And be aware of what they're doing here before they are allowed to mount. And then obviously for para-athletes, there are different rules.
Yes.
You can see this full-bodied, able-bodied athlete runs to the line and gets on, but
Yes.
he is only allowed to go. And then the rules are different for para-athletes,
Athletes, yes.
depending on their disability.
Yes,
And
yes.
that's beautiful, because that means everybody is allowed to take part.
It is still quite foggy.
Yeah, so the mist is lifting, and we've got our drone. I know FCS Smith is out there with a drone, and I know also you, NTV, your whole team is out there with drones.
Yes.
And that's amazing, because it means we're allowed to see live racing. You could see those other athletes coming back already
Yes.
on the 10-kilometer course. on the second
how many
loop.
loops of cycling?
So they're going to do 2 loops of a 10-kilometer course. Very
Yes.
important.
Yes.
That both loops are done. They're only going to come back into transition after the end of the second loop. So you can see there's an athlete going, and that athlete's probably on the second loop already of the 10, where
Yes.
some people out of the swim are only starting to start the cycling now, and these
Yes,
people are
yes.
going to do the second loop already.
Yeah.
So Peter Brinkman is out on the course, and in first in the age group male section, and one of the Brinkman brothers, and
Yes.
that's amazing. And they've been part of sport, Namibian sport, for so long, both as regards their franchises and
Yes, yes.
and as regards just sponsoring and then supporting and then providing logistics for a lot of events.
Wow.
So the event's going to be pretty quick. We'll probably see Peter Brinkman, probably doing between 30 and 40 kilometers per hour. But because of the technical nature, he won't be able to maintain. There'll be a lot of braking
Yes.
and then gearing down, gearing up. The course is pretty flat, so it's not that they're going to be climbing too many hills. There's none
Yes.
of that.
Yes.
But it's going to be a quick event.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen. So this planning already started yesterday with the registration and uniform check-in that was conducted at MTC Dome. The swim is taking place here at the Mola, and it's consisting of several triangular laps depending on the race distance. It's a very exciting bike route, a technical and demanding one, and cyclists can mount a brake. Individual cyclists can mount a brake away, but it is not enough to spoil the fun. And it also consists of 2 laps. Here we have cyclists at the turning point. So yes, as David pointed out rightly, some contestants are only emerging from the ocean now, while others are already on their bikes, and it's happening at a very rapid pace. We are now at the sprint division of this competition, with the male, the female, and the teams in action. Other action will be, as the day progresses. We'll have the males, females, 12 plus starts, and then we will have the juniors, and then we will also have the elite female and the elite males, which will be the last group, and that is the most competitive group of athletes competing here, and there's a lot of prestige up for grabs in this elite as well as the junior section of this competition. Not to take anything away from the determination of the competitors in the sprint and the other sections. Yes, it is the Africa Cup of Nations, African Cup, Triathlon Cup, that is happening right here in Swakopmund at the Mola, and according to the list of registered athletes published on the Triathlon's website, the African Cup event in Swakopmund is represented by Algeria, Barbados, Belgium, Bermuda, Britain, Denmark, Egypt, Ireland, Japan, Kazakhstan, Morocco, Mauritius, Mexico, Netherlands, Austria, Spain, South Africa, and Togo. We are quickly cutting away for an interview with Maya Brinkman, one of our local triathletes. Stay tuned. We will be back after this interview.
We are joined by Maya Brinkman. Maya, before we get into anything else, local favorite, how was it in South Africa?
In Port Elizabeth, it was great. It was my first time really racing competitively in that kind of distance, the sprint distance. So it was a great experience. Got to see how others race, how people my age race, got to watch the elites race. It was a great experience overall. I learned a lot in that race. and I came fourth, which was a good result for me. I came second out the water out of under 19 women, so that was good. And then, yeah.
Okay, well, before you left, we spoke and you were so excited that you were going to take on the top athletes in that category. How did it feel having to like line up and know that, okay, it's officially happening, I'm taking on these great athletes?
Well, the nerves are always pretty intense, but nerves are a good thing. It's adrenaline. It helps you race. And it was pretty awesome to be there with an American, South Africans, people from internationally. The top junior is here as well, Cadence Ribbing. She's going to race again tomorrow, which is going to be nice, being on the course with her again. So, yeah, nerves are high, but you just manage to deal with it and go with the flow.
Oh yes, and as I said, David, we've got athletes, men athletes from Algeria, Barbados, Belgium, Bermuda, Britain, Denmark, Egypt, Ireland, Japan, Kazakhstan, Morocco, Mauritius, Mexico, Netherlands, Australia, Spain, South Africa, and Togo, warming up for the big sections of this triathlon, and this will be the males, junior, females, junior, as well as the females elite athletes.
So we just came back from Maya Brinkman. Her dad, Peter Brinkman, is actually leading the age group race as we speak. I realize now that the course is a 5-kilometer loops. They had to change that just because due to traffic conditions. So that's been quite amazing. So they've changed the to 5-kilometer loops. So this 20 kilometers is going to be 4 loops of five, which is great because it means it allows the spectators to be able to cheer at athletes going both directions if they stand at certain points. And that's going to be just be able to just spur them on, and it allows for our officials to keep a closer watch, as well as our traffic officers being able to do the road closure. And again, we are so grateful on a Saturday morning that Swakopmund and its community has allowed this to happen. To have total road closure for a race is rare, and it makes it much safer for all the athletes, especially as we get towards to showcase Namibia specifically to our international audience and to our international supporters and the athletes. Tourists coming to Namibia. So here we can see different athletes going past. Right in front of us here, about 50 meters from us up this hill, in front of the transition zone, you will see that the athletes will not be coming into transition only when they finish the 20-kilometer loop. And
this is now the four loops.
Yeah, they're going to be doing 4 loops of 5 kilometers. It also allows for us to technically help athletes because there's some athletes here that are possibly on a borrowed bike or not on a bike that's their own because they've traveled from somewhere else. We've been grateful to Money's Bike Maker for being able to provide technical support for that. Yes, and we are so grateful to our sponsors for this events like this don't happen without sponsors, so that's amazing.
Yes, in the elite women we have competitors from Algeria, Denmark, Finland, Guam, Kenya, Mauritius, Andri Krugel from Namibia.
Yes.
Someone from the Netherlands, Ukraine, Austria, 5 competitors from South Africa and Slovakia.
So what's great about the event is that because of the level of the event as regards the logistics and then adherence to World Triathlon, that allows this event to qualify for a point system. And that means that we will keep attracting people so that it's not just a Namibian local event or a school event or a regional event, but what that allows us to do is to bring in athletes from all over the world and attract them because this is a place that they can get points towards racing in some of the more prestigious events, and then they specifically put up their hand for being chosen for their country because this is a sanctioned event.
Yes.
And then it allows them to go to the Olympics.
While you're on that topic, is there any money in this game?
You mean today, or do you
yes,
mean overall?
prize money and overall.
Okay, so there is prize money for being here today and for taking part for podium positions. I think it is quite significant, the prize money from a Namibian standpoint, where the event is co-sponsored by Prosperity Health and by RMB, and we're very grateful for that. But I think most of the athletes that are here are probably here because they want to see where they measure up in the elite field in the world, because we've got some high quality athletes here. I mean, people are going to be racing for the elites are going to be racing for just under an hour. That's phenomenal.
Yes.
And it will probably cover their transport and them being here and all the expenses. I don't think they're coming here because of they're coming here more because of the points that they are able to earn.
Yes. Now for the youngsters out there watching, what would be the good traits if you want to get into the sport?
So triathlon is for anybody who is able to swim, bike, and run. And I think what happens with triathlon is the training required is very different to, say, simply just being a runner or simply being a swimmer. So it's not as one-dimensional as that. And because it's a multidisciplinary event, I would suggest that anybody first gets out there. I would say to anybody, get out there and do an event. That's the first way in order to realize if this is for you. And this is something for the whole family also. So there's events all around Namibia and South Africa, specifically when I talk about us regionally, that are able to do this. And you can go there as a whole family, and usually it's geared towards the whole family. We can see a little bit later that we're going to have the 12 plus males and the female 12 plus. So those that are not in the elite category, but that are not even in the junior category of representing the country, but just taking part. And that allows us to be an event for the whole family. So I would say to anybody wanting to get into it, that's how we got into it. Just go out and do one. Just go out and do one. We can see now as the mist starts to lift at different parts of the course, we're able to see the athletes more clearly. But you see a lot of people are still going to be feeling the swim in their legs because this is not a thing that they've practiced. So the elite athletes practice swim bikes. They are called brick sessions, where you bike and then run, or swim and then bike, or even swim run because of a long transition. So you train for these events, and that's very important that you actually train.
So how do you conserve energy?
The great thing on this course is that you are, as we said, it is a draft legal race. So you're going to be able to sit on somebody's wheel in the breeze, or be able to sit on somebody's wheel when there is just even being able to sit when there's no wind makes a big difference to your race. So that's very important. But remember, we're talking about a sprint triathlon, and as the word implies sprint, you're probably going to be going balls to the wall all the way. And most of these athletes are probably going to be very close to their anaerobic ability. That means where their heart rate is so high that they are not recovering between each of the things, and they're probably not even able to eat for many of these athletes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so we can see some guys out there on the bike, and they're trying to keep their bodies as low as possible, because if they do that, then they are able to also stay as aerodynamic as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would you say it's a smooth start for the African Triathlon Cup?
I think it's a great start for African Triathlon Cup. Firstly, that we've been absolutely blessed with the weather that we have this morning. So things can be, you could have torrential conditions, and then that actually kills the whole event. And then often that's number one. Number two is the sea has been amazing and is behaving because with often at a triathlon event that is also an ITU or World Triathlon Cup, they might even cancel the swim for the age groupers,
Yes.
but they will not cancel it for the elite athletes because
Yes.
they have flown all this way for a certain specific purpose, and that
Yes.
purpose is points
Yes. Yes.
towards their towards international competition. So you'll find that then if the water is too rough, then they'll most probably still have a swim event, but only for the elite athletes.
Yes. So I just want to mention that our viewers and our followers on social media, please spread the message. This is brought to you live on DSTV channel 285 as well as GoTV channel 94 and 1UP 2. So yes, switch on, switch in, tell the neighbors, sit back and relax, and yes, enjoy the action as it is unfolding right here in Swakopmund. We are now on the cycle stage of the first stretch of the African Triathlon Cup. It is the sprint Namibian national age group for the sprint section, and we had the males who started this competition, and then the females took to the ocean about 3 minutes after them, and then the teams, and most of them are out of the water, I think, and they are now on the bikes. They will be doing 4 loops of 5 kilometers each. It's a 20-kilometer stretch, and I'm being guided by Dr. David Weber, my co-commentator here, and he's keeping me on my toes, and he is keeping all of you informed. He's the man with the tactical know-how, and we thank him for joining us here today and sharing his expertise with us as well as you, our viewers.
Yeah, well, I'm very honored to be here. It's a great opportunity for us to showcase what Namibia has to offer, and we're very grateful, as triathlon has always been big in Namibia, and it continues to grow. The Namibian population is a real outdoor population, and we're a community that enjoys showing off what we have and enjoys our conditions also. I mean, we live in a desert, but yet in the mornings it can be icy cold here. And we love it, and we're so grateful and honored to be here.
Yes, and we are challenging the locals to come out in numbers. Please place yourself along the route. The action, this is just a taste of what to follow. So what will follow after this, David?
So as the guys get off as all of our athletes start getting off the bike, because they will be approaching the end of the 20-kilometer, the 4th loop of the 5Ks, they'll come into transition, and then we'll see probably if Peter Brinkman is still in the lead of the age groupers, he'll come in and he has to come and dismount before the dismount line, otherwise there is a penalty for riding into transition zone. Again, a safety feat, one of the safety rules that we have.
So how much points can an athlete accumulate from such a race?
So points are not going to be awarded in the age group categories, but in the elite group there's definite significant points in this African Triathlon Cup that they can use towards not only representing their country and being chosen for their national team, but being able to for Olympics, and then your position there. That all becomes very important for the elite athletes. So the point system is determined by World Triathlon and by the ITU, and that'll happen as soon as specifically with these athletes gearing towards the Olympics in Paris next year.
When next year? So do you think we'll have some representatives from Namibian soil?
Well, we've got Krugel, who's I know is a phenomenal athlete, and we'll see what she's able to do today. in the elite race, and of late she took part in the Tour de Windhoek, which was and she did phenomenally well there.
Yes.
And then she's represented even at the African Champs for UCI Champs, which is a cycling event. So she is a very strong cyclist.
Yes.
She's also a biokineticist by trade, so she has the amazing ability to understand sport. So we'll see what she's capable of doing today,
Yes,
but we have a
yes.
very strong field, specifically our European field that has come to race today, and they mean business. They really mean business, and we're at sea level here, so it's a flat course, so it's going to be exceptionally fast, exceptionally faster than what we're seeing here. So you will see that happen today.
So these are amateurs, and they are doing a 750-meter swim, 20-kilometer cycle ride, and a 5-kilometer run.
Yeah, so it's what we call a sprint. What we call a sprint triathlon.
Yes.
And you'll see them finishing the 20-kilometer ride now, and then they'll be coming into our transition. So
Yes.
This will be probably significantly faster amongst the lead group when they come in for the elite race.
Yes. I see some of the riders are still grouped, while others have opened up quite a distance.
Yeah, so that again is just either due to the speed of the riders that are right in front, or it's due to the fact that lots of the age groupers are getting their feet wet, so to speak,
Yes,
in
yes.
triathlon. So they don't necessarily sit in the wheel of somebody else because they don't know to, or they are just they just can't at this point, because technically it's also quite difficult sitting on somebody else's wheel and knowing where
Yes,
to sit on
yes.
somebody else's wheel.
So in terms of logistics and venue, Swakop have really proven to be the place.
Swakopmund is an amazing place to host an event like this, because we have got the buy-in from the community and our traffic officers and traffic officials and city officials. So to have road closure like this on a road that you and I both know is
Yes.
very busy and usually
Yes.
filled up with cars on a Saturday morning, we're just so privileged to have this amount of road closure. And it's a very, very fast course. And then
Yes.
Swakopmund also has the ability to host something like this, because we have numerous conference and hotel venues that
Yes.
being the place where Namibia comes to go on holiday.
Yes. In terms of financial spin-offs, what does an event such as this bring?
So
for town?
the event, a lot of athletes that are taking part in this event bring their whole family to the event. And that's a very important thing, because if you bring your whole family, they
Yes.
need to stay somewhere. I know lots of athletes actually came, even our elite athletes came
Yes.
a week before the time to acclimatize to the Namibian climate,
Yes.
and to our conditions, and to understand what the race is about in Namibia specifically. So that means there's a lot of tour buses, there's a lot of touring venues that they end up using, and then
Yes.
also from a technical point of view. Obviously, they come with world-class bicycles, and those need to be serviced and put together and so on. So we have a lot of that happening, and
Yes.
that's very important for an injection into our local community,
Yes, yes.
where we do have the expertise to look after world-class bicycles
Yes.
and world-class athletes.
So it's significant. It's quite a significant amount of money being pumped into our local economy. People are taking up established accommodations, spots, and as you heard now, rightfully, those bikes have to be serviced. People have to eat, and so it's good. It's good for our economy.
Yeah, and I want to say the amount of from the sponsors. I
Yes.
mean, the sponsors don't have to do what they're doing, but they're also doing this to grow not only triathlon and not only their own brands, but to showcase Namibia, which is amazing.
Yes.
Also, the amount of officials that have been brought to the event. I mean, I've been privileged enough to be here and help be, and I know lots of us have brought our families because we love
Yes.
coming to Swakopmund.
Yes. So there's a group of 4 cyclists now chasing one another.
So you can see they're actually rotating. So you can see the athlete in white on the front. He'll pull over to the left, and then the other athlete will come through on the right.
Yes.
You'll see that happening, and then they'll rotate. Much like we see at the Tour de France, much like we see at a lot of the cycling events.
Yes.
So, cycling is the biggest gross of of time on the event. So if you can save energy and if you can save time on the cycling, that makes the most significant.
Yes, yes.
So you cannot win the race on the swim, but you can definitely lose it on the swim if you go too hard, if you've been drinking too much salt water, if you're not getting your nutrition right. So, but the cycling is usually where most of the moves get made, and then the ribbon and the bow on this whole thing is when you come off this and you run.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, we can see that was a group of athletes working very well together today.
Yes. The fog has been melting now. Oh yeah, it's been melted now, as they say.
Yeah, so the sun's busy melting away the mist, and you can see it raising. And I mean, even here in our booth that we're sitting, it's getting quite warm now. And the athletes will be feeling that out there. But I think many of them, their core temperatures will still be very low because of the swim that they had earlier.
Yes.
And then when you're out on the bike in a wet triathlon suit, you're also getting very, that still cools you even further due to evaporation.
Yes. So David, just to mention, you said sponsors, we know who they are: Prosperity Health, R&B, Money's Bike Mecca, Network Television, eMed Rescue 24, MTC The Dome, Cosmos 94.1, Hotline Catering Supplies, and Electro Boost are the people behind the scenes.
Yes, excellent. Yeah. And we are so grateful to our sponsors for being here. And we can see our athletes, the first two athletes are in. There's a South African represented age group athlete and another athlete that's come in now. And the two of them are about 10 seconds ahead of the this group of Namibian athletes that came out of the water first. So you can see how smooth his transition is, because he's now come off the...
Conrad Marais?
Yes, he's come off the bike, and quickly he got rid of his bike and then put on his shoes and then took off his helmet, which is the right way of doing things. The second athlete behind him, and they're out on the 5K run. Second athlete's out on the run. And you can see they're led out by the marshal onto the pavement. So they're going to be going out on this 1.25 kilometer loop. They're going to do the 5Ks. The 5K is going to be 4 loops of that. And that also makes it very friendly for racers, for people to be able to watch the race. You can also see your competitors because the race is such a closed loop. And it makes safety much more important.
I think Conrad is a Namibian studying in South Africa.
Yeah, so he's a Namibian. We can see there Andrew Rawls is also out there. And there he goes around the corner up to the top. So coming off the bike, going onto a run, again you are using different set of muscles, and your muscles will be screaming at you as that happens. Okay, so there you can see he gets to the dismount line. That is Peter Brinkman that came out of the water first and was out. So you can see the others have made up quite a bit of time on him. I don't think it's that he's lost the time. It's just that the other groups have worked faster. So you'll see he'll go and rack his bike, put on his shoes, and then take off his helmet and then be out. The transition is reasonably smooth. If the distance was longer, people would be considering eating or taking in more nutrition, but you'll see that probably will not be happening because this race is so fast. So the 5K loop, these guys will be probably doing around about 4 minutes a kilometer. So it's about a 20 kilometers, a 20-minute section, but it's going to be, his legs must be screaming, and then he's got off the bike, he gets in there, and now he's got to run up this first hill. So this little incline that we are sitting on here makes it
Peter
seem...
Brinkman.
Yeah, that's Peter Brinkman. It makes it seem, it shouldn't really be a problem, but I tell you, it's not easy getting off a bike and then having to run uphill. You still have to start lifting his legs. This is all quads and hammies.
We also saw him glancing at his watch.
Yeah, because he wants to know what his time was and how far he is behind. He is probably about just over a minute behind. I don't think he'll make that time up. And the group in front with Murray was doing very fast, was going very fast. Here's Paul Inkpen coming in now. Paulie that arrived, he's not able to rack his bike the way normally he would hang it on the seat just because of the height of his bike. You can see he's trying to get his shoes on. The problem is your feet are wet and then the weather out here is humid.
Yes.
So it's sticky. So you're not able to just slide that foot in there. There was our first woman coming in who had started 3 minutes behind. There's Greg Chase going out. So Greg Chase going out and he's out on the course.
Yes.
So you notice that he doesn't have his number on his race belt, but the numbers have been put onto their
bodies.
And there is Paul Brinkman, also one of the Brinkman brothers.
Yes.
Also an amazing endurance athlete over many, many years. I've raced with him, raced against him, and it's been just great. So that's the amazing thing, is that you know everybody.
Yes.
So, and there Paul Inkpen, just by knowing the course, has gone out ahead of Paul Brinkman.
So the bikes are coming, the runners are going. For how long are we still going to wait for the winner of this sprint?
I think we've got about 18 minutes, 17, 18 minutes. There's our first woman out on the course. So she's made up a significant amount of time and she's running strong. You can see how she runs up this hill and this little incline. You can see the way she's using it. And there's Mark Brinkman. And there's the older Marais coming in.
Jean-Marie.
Yeah.
Yes, number 33 is Jean-Marie.
And also an athlete that's just been racing for many, many years, as is Mark Brinkman also.
Yes.
Has done numerous. So this is Marais. He's on his second loop. So he's on his second loop. He's the leader right now. So, and he's still going very strong. So what has happened with him is he's got only stronger and stronger. And now we find that there's another Marais loading his bike. And they're only coming into transition, whereas the our front runners are already on their first loop.
Yes.
And the Marais has made a significant lead on the runner that ran out with him. Okay, there comes the other runners.
Namibians.
They are on their second loops. Human. And there they go. But the first Marais is quite significantly out in front of them.
Yes.
And that's great. And he's looking strong. But all three of these runners are looking strong. And he's made his first turn.
Turning point.
Second turn there, yeah. Okay, so this gentleman at the back here, number 001, is it?
Yes.
He came into the bike also in first place.
Jan-Louis Mostert.
Yeah, and then there's Andrew Rawls. Andrew Rawls going out on his second lap. And he's looking strong. And it seems he's actually looking better going into his second lap, coming off the bike. And for many guys, it's like that.
Yes.
For many of the athletes, because you're going from it's a very different action that you're doing from cycling into running, specifically depending on how you run.
So
by Benita.
Yes, by the look of things, Conrad have opened up a stretch.
Yeah, he's opened up a significant lead, and I like seeing how strong he was running. So this is Benita, and she's coming in for a second, Benita Kash, and also amazing athlete and has done so much for triathlon in Namibia. A real servant of the sport, as well as being an athlete. Just came back from the Commonwealth Games.
Yes.
There's Paul Inkpen going around that first bend. There's Mark Speert behind him. The First Lady, she's on her second, coming around for a second loop very shortly. And yeah, Benita getting changed into her running shoes, and she's also just been doing phenomenally well. So you can see she's also looking reasonably fresh.
Yes, yes.
And she just needs to get into the transition of getting into the run. And she knows what she wants. She's into a rhythm. She's done this before. She's done this many times. and she changes her transition out of transition zone. Notice she pressed the watch.
Yes.
And so she can now go on to what are her run metrics as she starts running. Okay, and you can see she's running into the sun now.
Yes.
So it started opening up. And it's actually we couldn't have asked for a better day. It's not cold at all. There's not wind. You can see those teardrop banners. They're not even moving. These are the guys in second coming around that the Dio Farmer bend there.
And I must add that
That's
we
Peter
are
Brinkman,
also
yeah.
challenging our coastal residents to pitch in numbers, because we are showcasing Swakopmund and the land of the brave to the rest of the world.
So that's Greg Chase coming out through the transition into his second loop of the 1.25 run of the 5Ks.
Yes.
And you saw Lelani going into transition. She's the third woman. So she's just getting off the bike, and here comes Greg. Now notice Greg, it looks as he's getting stronger as he's going up the hill.
Yes.
When he came in, he looked a little bit down, but he's doing better. We also have Chiappini coming into transition, one of the guys, to start his run. There's quite
I
a
must
few.
say it's well organized.
Yeah, so
The swimmers did their thing, the cyclists went out, and now the running is happening.
yeah, so we're gonna see there's Lelani Swart. She's gonna go out. She's also a biokineticist, also a servant of Namibian sport. Just looking out which side she needs to go out. She's looking okay. She's looking good. She'll probably get stronger as the race, as the running gets on. It's good, really good. She's a really good cyclist. We see Murray come round for his third loop. He's on his third loop, and he's opened up. So he's also overtaken quite a few of the guys on their second loop. So that's the one thing about doing multiple loops, is that your ability. Paul Inkpen and Mark Speert going around there. They're going around for their second loop. Both multiple Ironman athletes and
Yes.
numerous endurance events.
Heman?
Okay, this is, yeah. So these two are both Namibians, and they are, you can see they've got a great rhythm going, and the two of them are running in tandem, and then you can see that they've got Maria ahead of them.
Yes.
So the two of them will probably stick together and do a bit of sparring until they see who can actually get away.
Yeah, Petrus Heman and Jurgen van der Westhuizen.
Yeah. So both of them are looking strong, and actually both of them are starting to look stronger than they did on the first loop, just because of that transition from bike into run. It's quite a trauma on your legs.
There we have Gino Ciappiani,
Yeah,
wearing number 47.
Yeah, Gino Chiappina, also a Namibian athlete, and a great. You can see he's actually getting stronger as he starts running there, and he is also a phenomenal. He's also into other type of sports, into boxing and so on.
Yes.
The Chiappini family. So yeah, great athlete, and I'm so glad we're seeing him here. Behind him was Pierre. Running, and Pierre's also done multiple races, specifically endurance running races. And then Marion Schoenecker, she's the fourth woman in. Marion is also done a lot for Namibian sport from an administrative point of view, and she's also a UCI level coach and official, so she's done a lot of the certifications that are needed. So Marion Schoenecker, they said, is coming to fourth.
Yes.
For the lady, that's our first man there, Marie. So you can see it's, and that's our first lady actually. So
wow.
I'm wondering, he's one lap ahead of her. And I mean, she did start 2 to 3 minutes behind. So that's really good. That
is Marais now on his final lap? One more lap to go.
I think
he did three.
I think when he comes through transition, he'll be on his final
Final
lap.
lap,
Yeah.
okay.
So this on his third lap.
So positive performance from Conrad Marais.
Yeah, he seems to be getting stronger. There's the two that are going.
Yes.
Marijn van der Westhuizen. I mean,
Yachia.
Jurgen van der Westhuizen and
But Conrad is maintaining his momentum by the look of things.
yeah, he's quite strong and he's able to see where the other athletes is, so he could measure his run. So he can realize that if he goes 30 seconds slower per lap, he's still
Yes.
going to be
Yes.
in with a win. So that's the nice thing about having short loops, because you're able to see where the other athletes are and how far behind you they are.
Yes.
And that allows you to really measure your effort as opposed to some of the other events that you're running a big loop. That's Irene Steyn going out, also multiple Ironman athlete, and has won Desert Dash solo.
Yes. Yes.
So she's a phenomenal biker, but just in endurance in general, she's very good. So there's Irene, and look at her smiling. She's having fun. And that's important. That is so important. We mustn't forget that many of us are husbands, wives, fathers, sons, where we do a lot of other things, and we're here firstly because they were doing this out of fun. So we can see Greg Chase and Peter Brinkman. So Greg has now caught up and is actually taking Peter. So Greg is quite small, quite fast, but just behind him is Conrad Murray on his last lap. So you can see the yellow bike with him is because he's the first male athlete. So he's got about 1 kilometer left. Henry.
Yes, viewers, we are quickly going out for an ad break, and then once we are back, we will bring you the action as it is unfolding. Yes, we are back and we are waiting for Conrad Murray, who is setting the pace in the sprint division of the males. And by the look of things, he's about 2 to 3 minutes out.
Yeah, he's about 2.5 minutes out. And I think he's measuring his his run, because the two gentlemen behind him, Van der Westhuizen and Human, both of them are actually been sparring and racing each other the whole time. And I think what will happen is they'll start running faster and actually closing off the gap. So we'll see what happens over the next kilometer with second and third.
Yes.
But right now it's the race for first is I think is basically over, and Conrad Murray will come in to take that. Namibian athletes currently in South Africa.
Yes, they started 10 minutes past 8, and it's now 20 minutes past 9.
Yeah. So there we can see Human again ahead of Van der Westhuizen. We're going to go to the finish line because we're about a minute away. Conrad about to come in. There we can see Anton Swart going out probably for his third lap. and there's still cyclists coming in.
Yes.
And that's the great thing about age group racing, is that it's for everybody, and we
Yes.
don't hold anybody out of the story whatsoever.
Uh-huh.
More women coming in, more of the ladies coming in. So Conrad should be in about 30 seconds. So let's see if we're gonna be able to see that on the screen, and see if we're gonna get some footage of that. He's gonna come through to the finish on the left-hand side there at the finish banner.
Okay. And if he managed to cross the line, he will be the winner of this division.
Of the age group sprint, race. And it's so good. It's so good for Namibia. It's so good that Namibian athletes are winning. And here he comes. There he is. And he's still looking fresh.
Phenomenal
Great.
athlete.
Yeah.
Conrad Marais just crossed the finishing line.
Just finished. And he did a great run. And he did it's going to be a sprint for Human and Van der Westhuizen.
Wow.
Oh, and he just pips Human on the line. And that is great. That's really awesome. So all three of these athletes, you'll notice they were not first out of the water. So they had worked together on the bike to take the first 4 or 5 men that had come out of the water. And then they ran a phenomenal race.
Yes,
And we always knew second and third was going to be. There's Human with his wife, and they've got 2 kids. So Human is it's a different age to Van der Westhuizen that's sitting down here.
Yes.
And that's the amazing thing. You can have people who are students racing against people who are fathers, who are have a day job, who do very different things.
Yes.
And then their kids are out here watching that, and that's just amazing. And that's what makes age group racing and triathlon around the world probably so popular, is you are able to race against people that are younger, older than you, and you're able to race against professionals in the same race.
Yes.
And that makes it amazing.
Brilliant stuff. Conrad Marais crossed the finishing line here for the sprint section. There he is, our winner.
Yeah. So all three of these athletes, they could probably do another race like this.
Wow.
But not today. So it seems like some of them have definitely used up all the energy and used up everything, whereas some of them you'll find that they're able to later on just be here again. And so they'll probably be here for the rest of the day, because our prize giving is only late afternoon, and then we'll see what comes of that.
Yes.
We
We will quickly cut away for an interview.
Okay, well, we are joined by Pietros, who just finished third in the national men. Quickly run me through it. How was it?
It was quite tough, but very enjoyable. So it's in the red from the beginning, start to finish, but thoroughly enjoyed it.
Definitely tough from the beginning, the swimming. Tell me, throughout the 3, which one do you feel like was the most toughest one you had to endure?
The cycle, because I had a crash on the first turn, so from there on it was catch up all the way. So I had to work a bit extra as what I would usually do. So the cycling was the toughest of the 3, I would say.
Okay, navigation-wise, tell me, how was the navigation? Was everything set up fine? And did you make your way through all okay?
Yeah, the course setup is excellent. Like Rual said, you can't miss the signage, especially, well, except when you go over the barriers, but other than that, you can't go wrong at all.
Okay, thank you very much. Son out of breath, but yeah, congrats. We're looking for our second race winner. We'll get to him now, just to find out how he feels about the race that he had. Well, let's talk about a sprint finish. Wonderful that you pulled it all the way to the end. Run me through it. How was it?
It was really hard. I enjoyed it. I followed Pietros all the way and went into the lead for a bit. Tried to catch up to Conrad, number 1, and I pulled a gap with Pietros, and I said, Pietros, let's go. Let's close it. And I saw Conrad was just keeping his pace, so trying to increase our pace, and we got closer. But we didn't get there, and then we had to finish with a sprint.
All in all, run me through it. How do you feel finishing second? Beautiful sprint at the end. How do you feel about that?
I'm quite impressed. I mean, I didn't think I had the best swim ever. I could have done better. But yeah, pretty impressed. My run and my bike's good. I'm satisfied with that. It's just the swim. I have to work on the swim.
Okay, thank you very much. Congratulations. Congratulations for the second place. Well, we have Conrad who took first place, and we will get to hear from the man himself how the race was and how intense it was. Conrad, quickly run me through it. You took charge. Run me through it. How was it?
Well, I took charge after the swim, because during the swim, these other oaks made me work hard to not get out of contention or to fall out of contention. But fortunately on the bike, it's my strong part, so I could catch up to the guys quickly. And then Jan-Louis and Gino and I broke free, and we dropped some of the other competitors. I knew I needed to drop Petrus, who came third, because he's bloody good on a bike. And if he was to work on his own, then he wouldn't have it easy keeping up with us. And then after the cycle, it was just holding on to the run lead.
Okay, but all in all, navigating through the route, how was that? Was there any complication though? Did you find it to be smooth and perfect?
Yes, and it's difficult to get a route in Swakop that's smooth and, like you say, perfect, because there's a lot of salt roads, a lot of gravel roads. For a road race, especially a technical one where you want to take corners fast, it's very difficult to find such a route safely, and I think they've done it well. Thank you so much for Swakopmund for closing the roads for us, so that we don't have to worry about cars and pedestrians and so on. So it was a fun route where you could give your all, power out of the corners, and maintain your lead.
Okay, thank you very much, mate. Well, there you heard it from the man himself. We still have a few runners that are coming in. Conrad very happy with his win day, and we still have more winners coming your way, more interviews your way. So please do stay tuned.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, our esteemed viewers. We just had the first winner in the first stretch in. That was Conrad Mare. And the sprint men are in. We are now waiting for the ladies. She just came in.
So our winner of the ladies event has just crossed the line. That's Lelani. She's in third in the women's race. In second, I think it's Benita. But our winner is definitely, we should cross to the finish line for the first lady. She is there now. And she's just run. And yes, phenomenal to have made up on that time on so many of the women, of the men that started 3+ minutes ahead of them. So yeah, so she's in. Our first lady is also in right now.
So it's a very positive atmosphere that's prevailing here. No incidents at this stage. Everything is running smoothly.
Yeah, so that's a testament to Swakopmund as a town for the road closures. I think that's so important. Secondly, to the safety officers, both technical and from World Triathlon. That's so important that we have that. And then, yeah, there's a lot of protocols that are put in place. Why there are so many different rules, so that we can stay out of each other's way and be able to have a safe race.
Yes.
So our second lady is also in.
Second lady just arrived. First lady will be crossing over to the first lady, and we are bringing you this interview.
Wow. Well done. Well done. How do you feel? Good? Okay, well, we are joined by Rihanna. Rihanna, we had a chat yesterday. You said you're taking part today. Well, you kept up with the guys, and you established a huge gap between you and your fellow ladies. How was the race for you?
It was amazing. I really enjoyed it. The swim was a bit cold, not used to the cold conditions. So I even had a double cap on, but found my rhythm very quickly in the water. Just went through the motions, got on the bike. I have a borrowed bike from Marnie, I'm on cycles, so thank you for him, because if he didn't give me a bike to ride today, I wouldn't have been able to ride, so thank you very much. And I was able to just keep it on the run, so I'm very, very happy. And the support is amazing. Very good.
Okay, well, all in all, your performance, how do you rate it? Because personally, I watched you the whole way through the water, through the cycling. I saw you were phenomenal. A coach leading by example. So how do you feel about the performance all in all?
I'm very happy. I'm not really racing fit, although it doesn't look like it, but I've done 5 races in a row now, 5 weekends, so my legs are a little bit jilly, but how privileged am I to be here, so it was amazing.
Well, you heard from Rihanna herself. not fit yet, and with the performance that we all had, we still have more interviews coming your way, so please do stay tuned.
Yes, David, that was R. Robertson. Do you have...
Yeah, so that was a phenomenal run from her, as well as a bike. We saw that she made up quite a bit of time on the bike. And she, so she's an ex-elite athlete from South Africa. She's also coaches many of the many triathletes and previous triathletes. So she's in the coaching business, but it's so great to see when a coach is out there still enjoying her own passion and able to follow her own advice, and had come in and done so well in this race.
So we have a South African in the lead, taking pole position.
And then Kash, there's Benita coming in second.
Wow.
So that's great. She's such a phenomenal athlete, and you know she's always got such a good spirit.
Yes.
And very enthusiastic, consistent, always able to help. And like I said, she was at the Commonwealth Games, she's she's an age grouper, so she has a full-time job and is able to do this after hours or in her recreation time.
And she still performs.
And she's still able to perform. And you can see she crossed the line, she gave it her all. And I'm happy to see that she's happy about it. Here we have probably, this looks like, that's Irene Steyn, also a great endurance athlete, solo winner of Desert Dash. And here we have some of the other ladies coming through as well, who are probably on their second lap or third lap possibly. But I think Lilani Swart is probably going to be our third lady coming in. And here's another Marais coming in, just really doing well, just amazing.
Yes,
coming.
So according to our schedule, the males 12 plus would have started already.
I don't think that has happened, because they would first want to clear the transition zone, unless they're using a separate transition area for them.
Yes.
And also many of our safety officers will not be able to be involved, who are now out on the bike and the run, that are not able to be involved in the swim section, which is probably your most dangerous part for athletes in the swim. So I think we'll see what happens with the start of that race. And then the sun is really coming out. You can see the shadows out on the course, and it's bright now. It's bright.
Yes.
So the mist has pulled all the way back into the desert. There's Pierre also coming in. And Pierre is also such an amazing endurance athlete, has done the Otter Trail, has done numerous of these multiple day stage trail events and biathlons and triathlons. So also a really amazing athlete, came back from a significant injury 2 or 3 years ago to be able to run again, and also a real servant of Namibian sport.
So I think the male 12 plus are actually now starting to converge at the ocean, where they will take to the ocean for the first stretch of swimming.
With the performance that he just had now, quickly run me through it. How was the race?
It was so beautiful. It was so fantastic, a lot of fun. So it was a little bit a hill there. I almost slowed down, but I told myself, no, let me just push up.
Yeah.
Let me just put up, because it's what I've been training for since January. Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, well, with training, how is compared to how you did? How happy are you with your performance?
I'm very happy with my performance. At least I increased it with 5 minutes down. So normally 5 kilometers I used to run like 19. Today I ran 15 minutes.
Wow.
That's wonderful to me.
Out of the three, the swimming, the running, and the cycling, which one do you feel was the toughest?
The toughest one is the swimming, because water is a bit cold, and we swim with some of the professionals, the champions. But at least we push it. So we just make sure that the moment they leave the water, we are also leaving the water. They must not leave at a big gap. So, and come to cycling, yeah, because we have different bikes, and the bikes are having different speeds. But coming to running, that's my cup of tea. So they will not beat me for running. If they beat me in swimming and cycling, but I'll make sure I have to beat them. Running, I have to catch up.
Okay, well, you heard from the man himself. Water was his strongest point. So we have some more interviews coming your way. So please do stay tuned.
They just use me for a lot of these things. I was also in Tokyo at the Olympics. So yeah. Are we back on?
Thank you very much for the coffee vouchers we received from you.
Oh no, there they are.
We fill your beautiful, beautiful coffee shop.
You were the only
morning
female in
or this afternoon.
No,
Thank you very much. Not tomorrow. Tomorrow we're resting on Monday. Thank you very much for supporting us.
Well, we are joined by Benita, who just finished first for the Namibians. Quickly run me through it. How was the race? I wanted to talk to you earlier, but I saw you had to catch your breath there. So run us through it. How was it?
It was hard from the start go. It's short, sweet, hard racing, but fun.
Okay. Well, out of the three, where did you feel like it was more challenging, and where did you feel like this was your strongest point, and you could like get into your groove and get moving?
So the swim was good in the beginning, but then I struggled a bit. Cycling was for me the hardest. My legs just didn't come to the party, but the run was for me the best.
Okay, well, all in all, last question, performance-wise, how do you feel about how you did today?
I'm happy. Yeah.
Well, short and sweet, happy. There you heard it from the lady herself. We still have more interviews coming your way. We still have runners that are on the track, so please do stay tuned.
No, it won't happen because the safety officers for the swim, right? They are now still standing here. There they are.
We are joined by Leilani, who's still very tired. Leilani, quickly run me through it. How was the race today?
It was very short and quick. It's a bit short for me, but it was lekker. I mean, where else would you want to race like Swakop like this?
Okay, well, all in all, out of the three, where did you feel like it was a bit more challenging than the other two? And where did you feel like, okay, here you're in your groove, you're in your stride, and you can like push it?
Well, the swim is always a challenge for me. The water was very cold today, but once I'm on the bike, I'm in my happy place. So then I push it, and then I just survive in the run.
Well, you heard it from her. She just survived in the run. Well, congratulations. You did really well.
Thank you so
yes.
much.
Well, we still have more interviews coming your way, so please do stay tuned.
Oh yes, viewers, welcome back.
Yeah. So we can see the picture there at the finish line, and that's typically what people want to do, is they want to be able to greet their families and say hi to their loved ones, and that's so important. We could even see there Dan Craven in the picture, only Namibian to ever represent Namibia in a UCI tour.
There we have Ethan Snyders, the youngster from Narwhal I told you about. One of the very few triathletes.
Yeah, so that's amazing that we can have people come from our local community and usually from an underprivileged community, and they're able to do that.
Yes. David, we are heading for a small break, and then we will be back with the start of the junior swim and the rest of the triathlon.
We can see them warming up there.
Yes.